Riot gear, riot gear, 3D. Shout out to who else? Gosh, man, I am a young Hayes, man. You do it with a YOUNG, Young Hayes. Lafu, disrupt appeal, my nigga, man. And then finally, with love, man, with love, Kate. As in, so what do you think they need to do as African artists, like to position themselves globally? You know what I'm saying? Cause okay, so one thing I'll mention about Riot Gear is he's an award-winning, he's globally recognized. He's an award-winning artist. So what do you feel is a thing that we need to do as African artists, right, to position ourselves globally?
Torn between like using industry. I'd have to like maybe crack some software from Adobe or Autodesk. Yeah. But then I found that there's just tools that are out there, open source. You can just download them and start using. You don't need to. Sometimes we put blockages on our path just because of limiting our imagination. Don't lock yourself into how things have been traditionally done too much. Yeah. There are things out there that they just find open source software, use the resources that are available to you at your level, and you'll find a way to pull yourself forward.
The times we've felt like, and that's beautiful.
Hit me at the same time.
So, like, it's a question that I've wanted to ask Steezy for a long ass minute too. Like, as a person that's been pushing the envelope in terms of like, as in what being a creator and an artist means. What does it mean that now that like the camera is kind of like I mean the lens is kind of like on Africa?
Tractors that we had in our sets in like school. If you look at that angle, at closer to the center, a 5-degree angle looks really small. But if you zoom out, that 5-degree angle becomes wider and wider the farther you go from the center. So the point that we are living right now, just something really tiny you could do on this internet that's coming up, it deflects the path. The farther out you look into history, you really have like, you can shape how this thing grows going forward.
Do you feel like at this point African art is on a pedestal?
On a pedestal? Say more. Like, I don't really understand the
like, as in, do you think we're on top as African artists right now? I'm looking at
I'd say
Burna Boy,
I love what the Nigerians have done to the music, the African
Basquiat,
music
Jay-Z,
industry.
whoever.
I love what the Nigerians have done to the African music industry. Definitely, they've entered into like the global stage, but I feel like that's just the tip of the iceberg. Like, that's just. It's like they've opened the door for the rest of Africa to show the world, like, this is who we are.
So, like, as in, what do you think they need to do as African artists, like, to position themselves globally? You know what I'm saying? Because, okay, so one thing I'll mention about Riot Gear is he's an award-winning, he's globally recognized. He's an award-winning artist. So what do you feel is a thing that we need to do as African artists, right, to position ourselves globally?
I don't know if I can speak for everyone, but something that I think really helped me, especially in the beginning stages, is to not really lock yourself into the ways that things have been traditionally done. So for example, I'll give you an example. When I was starting out with 3D, I came across, there was all these different softwares you could use. And then there was this really niche, very tiny, very clunky open source software. And I was kind of torn between like using industry. I'd have to like maybe crack some software from Adobe or Autodesk. Yeah. But then I found that there's just tools that are out there open source. You can just download them and start using. You don't need to. Sometimes we put blockages on our path just because of limiting our imagination. Don't lock yourself into how things have been traditionally done too much. There are things out there that they're just find open source software, use the resources that are available to you at your level, and you'll find a way to pull yourself forward.
So like, as in building on that question, so I was like, what technologies have you been using as kind of like as in conjunction with the technologies that you use? What did you say you use? Use Adobe?
No, I used to use like
Adobe.
Adobe.
And
then I pivoted to like just open source stuff, Blender, Inkscape,
and stuff. So what you've been using? What technologies have you been using in conjunction? And like as an independent free artist, have you been using that have been instrumental in making your art, like as in pushing your art to the next level?
I'd say a lot of the times it's been just the tools at your level of access. That has been just going a long way in. I found a lot of the times the things that I really needed could be easily taken care of by tools that were just out there, accessible and open. And even just sometimes, like especially in 3D, you need like really beefy PCs to do really dope stuff. And starting out, I used to kind of trip myself out thinking that if I didn't have like a beast of a PC, there's nothing I could do. But just that idea of using the tools at your level of access, I found that there's something that I could do right now to get me to that next step before I could worry about those other things. It's just like finding that kind of piece of thread and start pulling at it.
So okay, essentially this is a question that I've wanted to ask you for a minute, right? So a lot of the times we've felt like, and that's beautiful.
Hit me at the same time.
So like, it's a question that I've wanted to ask Steezy for a long ass minute too. Like as a person that's been pushing the envelope in terms of like as in what being a creator and an artist means. What does it mean that now that like the camera is kind of like I mean the lens is kind of like on Africa, like as in everybody's asking us like as in what's the move, my G? You know what I'm saying? Because everybody's like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's asking us like, what's the move? So what does it feel to be in this platform?
I mean, it feels good. I mean, I'm just like super glad to be making music. For me, that's what it's about. Like, I'm just trying to make good music. I think it's dope, not only for Africans, but just globally right now. There's just so many platforms to put your
So if the world asked, what's the move, my G?
What's the move right now? As an artist, or?
What's the move? Like, what's the move creatively? As an artist, whatever. Okay.
Make music, make art.
You
know, and then don't be afraid to show it to the world. Just put it out. I think that's what's like really key at the moment.
I think the thing that really stands out to me at our current point in like history is it's like the historians 100 years from now looking back right now is the first time like the internet is developing that ability to kind of store records for like an extended period of time, like really verifiable. Right now, it's like if you are to really think about it, the internet is really starting right now. Exactly. And you are standing at the starting line, right there. And you know, like we're looking at the world, we're seeing all the changes that are happening. We know that there's a lot of stuff going on. And if you are seeing what's happening to the internet, it's like 200 years from now, people will be looking back at the time that we are living at this point in history. And there's this thing that I usually have on my social media sites. It says, born too soon to explore the universe, born too late to explore the world, but just in time to witness the Renaissance. It's like, if you look at like those protractors that we had in our sets in like school, if you look at that angle, at closer to the center, a 5-degree angle looks really small. But if you zoom out, that 5-degree angle becomes wider and wider the farther you go from the center. So the point that we are living right now, just something really tiny you could do on this internet that's coming up, it deflects the path. The farther out you look into history, you really have like, you can shape how this thing grows going forward. And I feel like if the generation that we've grown on the internet from Africa, we really have things to show the world that the world does not expect to come from where we are coming from. And that gives me like a lot of excitement.
So, yeah, man, I guess hey, wow, that's actually beautiful, man. That's actually amazing. So I wanted to ask you, what are your motivations for creating? What are your motivations?
That's where I get my life juice, man. That's the juice that gives me the drive to wake up in the morning and say, I don't know how this goes, but I'm going to give it a shot. That's just where I get my reason to keep going.
So what kind of music do you listen to while creating?
I guess that depends. It depends on what I'm creating, because music has this way of like working around some of the centers in your brain to like go directly to the emotions. So it depends on what I'm making. If I'm making something really dark, I'd probably be listening to like some metal or some really dark hip hop. And it depends on what I'm making.
So dark hip hop. Could you name one influence?
One influence? What's this guy? Night Lovell.
Night Lovell. Shout out to Night Lovell. Like Canada, That's Canada. That's Canadian. All right. So what do you feel about? So now I think music has penetrated your industry, right? Creation in terms of like what you listen to kind of shapes how you create. So like what do you feel is music's potential to reach into other industries?
I think looking at it from the perspective of industries isn't even the correct level of analysis, I think. Because music has direct access to human emotions, regardless of what humans are doing on the surface of their activities. Music has this way of like going straight to the emotions, going around all your logic centers and everything, and just going straight to the emotion. So I think that's, if you really know what you're doing with your music, if you can move someone with your music, like that's a much deeper level of activity than than the industrial level, and that's kind of how I like to listen to music and consume music.
Okay, so what could we do as artists to move guys like you, you know, creators like in other platforms? Because the question was it's kind of close to my heart, right?
Okay.
So like, as in, because I'm a big believer in music moving and touching other realms of influence and all that stuff. So what could we do as artists? How can we be better? Like, as in, how do you feel if you were like an artist? Hey, whoa! I just asked you if you as a musician were to be asked those questions. What do you feel you would do to, like, as in enhance, like, you know what I'm saying, expand your realm of influence, essentially?
I think how I'll answer this isn't really like specifically for musicians. I think it's like more general. But I think where we're headed, just the structure that forms the internet or of the future makes it so that cooperation is kind of the winning strategy. It's not centralized top-down structures, but more flatter structures on the internet. Yeah. So it's like, just because of that structure.
What do you mean by flatter structures?
Like, like I'm trying to like put this in a perspective without like coming out so much as like a crypto bro.
Yeah.
But it's like, I think the internet of the, like, Bitcoin is something like, we can talk about Bitcoin right now. Governments are talking about like regulating the space, but it's this type of, the structure on that network is more peer-to-peer. It's more nodes that are, it's like they share the same level of activity. And I think that's kind of like the structure that the internet is headed towards in general, not just from the perspective of that industry. And I think the winning strategy in such a structure, in a flat structure, is you inherently want your neighbor to be as strong as they can possibly be. So that kind of creates this dynamic where you really want to be cooperating with other people who give you your strengths.
Collaborate with people who give you your strengths?
Like, collaborate with people who are kind of adjacent to what you're doing. People who can add on top of what you're doing. So I'll give you, like, a good example is how I've been like working with Steezy.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm not an audio guy. When I was starting out, I had the option of, I've learned this 3D software, and then now I'm learning this. I could have decided to learn production so that I could do it myself. But because I came across him, it was more efficient for both of us that I could just leave the audio things to him and let him take care of that, and he would trust me in the same way with the visuals.
Okay, so for Steezy, what was it like working with someone that's in a relatively, like, as in, what was it like scoring for someone that's never in a realm of the internet that's never been scored for? It's kind of essentially like, I kind of sent you like an astronaut into space, or what?
Yeah,
what was it scoring?
When you put it like that, like scoring is like, it sounds like super.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, like a lot of the stuff I do just involves putting the audio together, his narration, cleaning that up. You understand? If you want some music, I put some music on, right? I put some sound effects, so some sound design to some of the stuff that he does, and what was the question? I forgot the question.
So essentially, basically, like, so he's in this new realm of 3.0
Yeah.
in Africa, it's a relatively virgin land. So like, as in you're kind of scoring music for a place that's never been touched before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really look at it like that. For me, it's just about the art. Like, we're just doing dope stuff. I'm getting that. For me, like, being somebody who just, like, makes music, you know, like, I record with artists and stuff like that. To work with him, it's been interesting because, like, I'm getting an opportunity to, like, approach what I do a little bit differently. So it's like, he sends me the visuals, and I pretty much have to figure out what sound do I have on this, or what sound can I put on this to make this like more engaging, or just to make it, you know, just make it better, you know, because audio does make things better. So, yeah, that's dope. You know, it's dope that we're you know, putting some stuff out on the Web3 space, That's dope. I've been watching what's been going on over there. I'm thinking that it's a really dope place for artists. I love the community over there. You know, I haven't put something out recently, but you know, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I've been an observer, so I've been looking at everything and, you know, watching how people are supporting each other, and that's been super dope. So yeah, man, that's my take on that.
So yeah, finally. Thank you, Steezy. It's just like this. So essentially, I wanted to ask the both of you a funny ass question. So what's push start the key for you? I'll start with Steezy.
Yo, to be honest,
what push starts your key? I'm not saying push start the key. What push starts your key?
Push. Okay, all right. So
yeah,
for me, yo, like I'm gonna answer this in like from like my creative world, right? So I'm gonna answer for that perspective. So for me, it's just honestly just everybody else that's out there making music. Like, I'm listening to stuff and I'm like, yo, this is dope. And I kind of like, you know, me being somebody who makes music, it just inspires me to do something, because it's so, music for me, it's always been so cool how somebody can just like, you know, put together melodies or progressions or drum patterns and make it sound so dope, you know. And to me, that's always been a mindfuck. So I'm just trying to do the same. I'm trying to, you know, put music out, you know, work a fan base, you know, put it out, share the message, share dope music, you know. So that's it for me. Mostly it's other people, like, you know.
Did
I get your question probably? Or?
Yeah, you probably did. So mostly, yeah. So that's what I'm gonna put it to you. I want to. What mostly what's already? What's push start the key for you? What push starts your key?
Yo, bro, you better flop.
Yeah, I know he
You need
mad.
to make me look good.
I know he big mad.
I'm your brother.
I know. Yeah.
You sound guy.
I think for me it's like, as I was just learning the things that I've learned that have got me just like doing the thing that I love to do, I realized like the bulk of the obstacles were imagined.
Yeah.
Like
it's interesting. It's a completely interesting.
It's like I had all the things that I needed at the beginning to just start to do the thing, to then build that momentum.
To react. So what push starts your key? Your new kweli? Is it bitches? Is it bitches? Is it drugs?
Yeah, man.
Is it what push starts?
I think I need you to like expound on what push starting.
I'm asking what push starts your key? Your key is the push starter.
Like what? The way I interpret that question is what gives me the drive to wake up in the morning and face the day.
That's how I answered.
That's how I am interpreting your question.
That's how you look at it.
Yeah.
All right. So,
how do you mean it?
Yeah, man. Like if that's what push starts you, you wanna call money over bitches, bitches, money over bitches, money over bitches. Anyway, yeah, I mean that's the take for me, Young Hayes. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate Young Hayes? What would you rate the song first? Push start the key, and why? Scale of 1 to 10.
No, man, the why.
Why?
I don't
think
care.
That's an easy one.
Mm-hmm. Give me an honest rating, man. Please, friend.
Honest rate. I have 2 demerits. There's only 2 demerits that I would point out. There's this one bar in the song where you say. My shit look like the how does it go?
Dow Jones.
Yeah.
Dow Jones.
You're rapping in this same.
I feel like in Web3 circles, that's not a flex.
Oh, for real? Dow Jones?
Yeah.
Why?
That's like the old
that's
system. That's like the old
for real.
yeah.
I'm not trying to phase out the Dow Jones.
Not necessarily phasing out, but it's like
I'm sorry, not fade out.
It's kind of like representative of the old, rather than like the new.
Yeah.
So that's like the first thing that just stood out to me.
Yeah.
Personally.
So if you're like as in a Web3 rapper, like if you're a guy representing a space as it should be,
you wouldn't be flexing about like the Dow
like
Jones.
as in I wouldn't flex the Dow Jones anywhere. I wouldn't represent the Dow Jones anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Of course, shout out to Rocket 3D on Web3, on Web3. I promise I wouldn't rep the Dow Jones nowhere, man. I'm just going to Dow Jones. Ain't nowhere, man. I don't rep the Dow Jones. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna never catch me on Web3. Shout out to Ghost. Shout out to Ghost, frequent contributor, man. On Web3. I promise. On a scale of So what are your thoughts on Young Hayes as an artist, man?
Like,
just like as a person, an artist.
It's been a minute since like the first time we met.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's about time. It's about time like people started like discovered like the Young Hayes, the artist that we know and like we've heard and we know what he can do. So yeah, like I feel like it's about time.
I don't know, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to Snap, man. Now the car just got co-signed by one of the biggest 3D artists on the continent, my G. 3D artists on the continent. Shout out to Riot Gear. Anasemaje? Riot Gear 3D. Shout out to who else? Gosh, man. I am a Young Hayes, man. You do it with a Y-O-U-N-G. Young Hayes. Lafu, Disrupt Appeal. My nigga, man. And then finally, with love, man. With love.